I can make a great argument for needing art, except for the fact that it's been around before we even knew what to call it. There were cave paintings, there were tools, all of these things that were made before we knew how to make words, we knew how to make art.
I think artists see what's next, and so without art, you don't really know where you're headed as a society and as the human race.
The artist begins it, and then the viewer finishes it. And I just really like this concept that it's important to keep humanity connected to we have to stay connected to ourselves and to each other, or else what are we really living for?
I can't think of a better way to understand the world and our role in it. Everybody has a role to play. That's why the arts are important. It lets us know what our role can be.
When we talk about encouraging the arts in our communities and in our children, that is really what we're pushing. We are pushing the next generation of innovators and those people who will see the world in a different way and will continue to push the envelope. And that's why America is the country that it is.
Well, we need the arts because they enrich our lives and our souls and our communities. They give us hope. They transform all of us to a better people.
To be human, really. I mean, we're not just made out of like science and math. We need like culture, right? So, art, man.
Now your elbows sliding across with your feet.
To me, dance is the most visceral experience that we have because our instrument is our physical form. You don't get any more personal than that. You don't get any more expressive than that. And as many psychologists and things will say, the first thing you look at is somebody's face, and then you know how to identify with that person. And we're using our identity, our most closest to us identity, to express something that is actually very universal. One of the things I teach the kids is to hold in their mind the picture of what they want to express, whether that's a crumbling leaf or whether it's a social justice cause. They're holding that picture in their mind, and that is what the audience is connecting with. That's what they're communing with, and what they see emotionally is universal. And we're telling it through this thing, this instrument that we all have and we share in. So it's actually quite a profound and personal experience that we just kind of shut out because we don't like to move sometimes.
I never really knew if I really wanted to pursue an artistic career because, I don't know, I didn't really see much future in it. So, I don't know, they've made me realize that you can do this for your whole life and that you can make a difference. They've showed us a lot of people that have been to GSA and have pursued an artistic career and have made a massive difference in the world. So that's inspiring that you can like make a difference with what you love to do.
What is that? 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 What is that?
While they're here, my philosophy is that we're not necessarily here to create professional actors. We're here to illuminate opportunities. And some of those opportunities relate to going off into the marketplace and becoming theater artists. and some of those opportunities are expressive ones within other disciplines. The tools of theater with your voice and how you make an argument or develop a character or connect with an audience, they will help a student in the boardroom deliver a presentation and sell a product. They will help the future attorney get up in front of people and make a case and advocate for justice. If someone wants to be a teacher, it will help them get up in front of the classroom. And in any instance, the improvisational skills that you learn as an actor, if and when things go wrong in life, it sharpens the instinct for figuring out what to do next.
I love drama so much, and I didn't realize how much I love drama until I came here. Some people say with theater you can become another person or you can be different people, but it's much more than that. It's knowing who you are and using that to express. Even if you're not an actor, drama really does help you become confident on stage and with yourself, in your body, and everything. So, yeah.
Architecture and design is creative problem solving. It's important now to know how to solve problems and create solutions. There are societal problems, there are systemic problems that a creative thinker can help solve. That goes beyond just getting a job, that goes toward making our communities better and stronger. And it's not necessarily about the paycheck at the end of the day, it's about creating and fostering a community that you want to live in and you want to thrive.
I think of architecture as livable art. It's a way to create a space that people use every day, but make it beautiful. Make it something that people can walk into the room and go, wow. It's something that can inspire people in where they live, where they work, where they go to see art, or various things like that. I just think it's amazing to have that sort of impact on everyday life.
I don't expect that all of our students are going to become designers, but I think a lot of them will. And I know that they have a greater appreciation for art and what any art discipline at GSA means to a community. I hope that our students continue to make great things, they continue to ask important questions, and they start to solve really big problems.
Musical theater offers you three vehicles: the spoken word, the sung text, and the danced text to tell the story. So it just continues to build. We speak first. When that's not enough, we sing from our heart. And when that's not enough, we dance and show it in movement to bring the excitement on up. And that's what speaks to me about musical theater.
Miss my friend.
Musical theater is the thing that I found I can be fully confident in myself doing, I guess. It's something that when I'm doing it, it takes away all of the insecurities that I have about myself. When you think about going out on a stage, it seems like a really scary thing, but then you remember that you're not the one doing it, your character is. You're just helping them tell their story. I've learned so much, and one of the things that they've really done is like point out some of like the bad habits that you have, and they're really helping to break those, because we all have natural tendencies that aren't good for us or aren't good to do on stage, and they're really helping us break those and become a more authentic, healthy performer. Here, it's really fine-tuned to the people that you can actually connect with. We all share common interests and we all get along so well, and it's really just like being with people that I feel like I've known my entire life.
Well, the visual art discipline is quite amazing because it's actually multiple disciplines housed under one. We do ceramics and sculpture and painting and drawing and all different kinds of printmaking, and it's just so amazing for these students to see how they can take an idea and work from a drawing into a print, into a painting, into a sculpture, and see how the 2D and the 3D processes work together to really enrich their art.
I have learned things here that I would have never had the opportunity to learn or experience. I've met people that I feel like I will know for the rest of my life, and who will help me grow in my art form and help me learn. I think that it has given me, it's like a springboard, and from here I can just only get better.
In my art form, I'm learning all kinds of things that will apply to my life as when I go into art school to try and get a degree in art therapy and also continue as an artist. But also you learn so much about your art form, but you also learn a whole lot about yourself and about like work ethic and like how to function as a person. And I don't know, I think that like how people say that like when you play sports, you don't just learn how to play the sport, but you learn the work ethic and the discipline for the rest of your life. It's kind of like that, except way better, I think. And I'm really bad at sports.
Camera rolling.
Audio speed.
The little signature, take 2. Action.
When you're talking about new media, it is a way of communicating, and our society becomes we're increasingly a visual society, and that's the way we understand the world around us.
With technology and everything being so prevalent today, I think it's a great thing for people to just have the opportunity to pick up a phone and make a film. I think that's great. People can learn a lot on their own, which is good for starting out, but something like GSA is needed to take it to the next level. You can learn a lot of the basics, but the thing you can learn at GSA is collaboration, meeting deadlines, certain things that you just can't learn on your own. And GSA really helped me learn that and even take it to the next level.
Being able to communicate through media is different than being able to make a pretty picture. And I think that's the thing that for these students has really changed in the last 3 weeks, is their ability to use this as a medium of communication and not just a pretty picture.
Scene 24, take 1.
Where were you on the night of? I gotta sneeze, hold on.
A lot of what we do is talk with RAs about ways they can help their students kind of open themselves up in studio, how they can help their students find friends on the residential side of the street. We also organize activities for the students to do outside of studio. We help organize the all-school field trip, 4th of July. We have coffee house activities. We have 2 of those, actually. And that's an opportunity. It's kind of like an open mic night. And the kids get to come up and they can perform, they can dance, they can sing.
Lots of students find friends that they wouldn't have found at home. Some of them are big fish in small ponds. So it's important for them to be able to come together to create, to be exposed to lots of different performances and meet people from across the state that they wouldn't have ever known otherwise. A lot of times students will bring their instruments or bring their sketchbooks back, and they'll sit in the lobby or they'll sit in the courtyard. And for us, it's just free time for them, but they come back inspired. They come back tired, but they come back inspired to create more with each other and collaborate. So I think I think what we do is foster that environment for them to be able to create safely and fail safely.
Feeling uncomfortable, that's okay. This is awkward. So is being animals, and so is being other people. So is being yourself sometimes.
One of the things that's most exciting for me in terms of GSA is crafting a class of students who have so much in common, who live in the same state but don't get the opportunity to meet each other on a normal basis. So getting to see students who'll come and tell me I didn't meet anyone who was just like me until I started class at GSA is incredibly exciting. And plus the reward of being able to see so many students who are in small counties for whom the things they're interested in, they can mostly only talk to other students or other people online about. Getting them connected with living, breathing humans, especially when it comes to the creative writers, I think is really important.
I used to be a gamer. I loved games. I still do. But that world, for the most part, has been taken from me, I guess. You know, or no longer available, rather. So I turned to books. And that brought me into a world that's even more immersive than a video game. And I wanted to share that. And I wanted that to be something people wanted to read so they could love the world just like I do. GSA allows us to express ourselves in ways that other creatures in this world cannot. We can think, and therefore we can be creative.
You have to know what your story is, and you have to know how to market that story. And much of what we do in creative writing is teaching our students the skills to do that. Our goal is to create students who are better advocates for the state of Kentucky, and not just creating a class of creative people. And you see that reflected in all of the students who leave this camp, that they're just as likely to go off and win a Grammy, as some of our students have, as they are to go off and do things that become important for the success of our community as a whole.
Our focus in instrumental music is chamber music, and we have 50 students, and the combinations we make end up being about 50 performances at the end of the 3 weeks, which is kind of almost unreasonable to think that you would have that done in 3 weeks with as much as we do. In our program, where we have to do classes in theory and history, and we have seminars, and we have guest artists, and we have recitals, so we're not rehearsing those 8 hours a day. And so what we really teach them is how to manage their time, how to be efficient, how to rehearse themselves, how to figure out for yourselves what needs to be done, as opposed to just doing what you're told to do.
I'm not relying so much on the emotion that my body resonates as much as the emotion that my instrument resonates. It's a mouthpiece. It's a way for me to speak and, you know, kind of pretend that I'm talking to myself and the horn is talking back. There's so much room for instrumental music to just like collaborate with so many other things, and we are the soundtrack to humanity, and we back it up, and we support other people a lot, and that's really cool.
For 3 weeks, I get to work with some of the most talented and brilliant young vocal musicians in the state. I see the ones who have gone on to bigger and better things. We've had them now at the Metropolitan Opera, the San Francisco Opera, the Chicago Lyric Opera, every regional opera company, and they are choral directors around the state, throughout the region, etc., etc. One of the things we try to do with students in general, in addition to, in the case of vocal music, helping them sing better, helping them read music better, etc., all vital, is to also help them to understand what kinds of careers they could look forward to in the arts, and all sorts of things that they can do that will get them collegiate jobs, working in a radio station for a classical music station. Lots of things are possible, but parents don't necessarily know that, and neither do a lot of students. So it's our job to train them and to help them train their parents to understand that their involvement in the arts can lead to a lot of things, including a successful career.
Voice offered me an opportunity to excel in something that I have always used, and to do something that came more naturally to me than many other instruments. It's hard to find an in-depth training, and just coming here and having like the best of the trainers who know exactly what you're doing right, exactly what you're doing wrong, and can help you through that. It's been very, very inspiring, and it's given me a big boost in my own confidence in my own art form.
I feel like unless you're here and unless you've really had this experience, it's kind of hard to understand how much like doctoring of your heart that you get from it. Like it really changes your outlook on life, and it changes the way that you look at yourself and the way that you look at other people, because it like really just changes your life.